Okay. Terry Collins is here. Who has the first question for Terry? Right here in front, Barry.
Terry, what are your raw emotions right now getting to the World Series finally at this point in your career?
Well, it's just excitement, Barry. I'm standing there. I'm sitting in the dugout, standing there in the dugout in the ninth inning. I'm looking around the field. I'm looking down the dugout, and I'm just looking at all the guys, thinking, how did they do it? How did they keep it together? How did they stay focused? And looked at the coaching staff, and so I'm so happy that the job they did. And again, as you guys know, those of you who were around us all year, there were some tremendous peaks and some big, deep valleys. And to be able to keep those guys motivated and keep them level-headed through the whole season takes a lot of work. And my coaching staff, the veterans, did a tremendous job. And I just sat there and I said, wow, this might be the finest group of guys I've ever been around.
And over here to the left, Joel.
Terry, you've chased this moment for an entire baseball life, a lot of decades. I wonder if you could reflect on that, what it means to you. And I'm sorry to ask this, did you reflect on your dad at all in those moments near the end of the game?
Yeah, Joel, baseball's been my life, my whole life. I was one of those guys who started playing when he was 4 or 5. And I told a story tonight to some people that tonight, this day would have been my mom and dad's wedding anniversary, had they been alive. And I remember when I was 12 years old, I was such a baseball fan, I was begging my mom to stay home and watch the World Series between the Yankees and the Pirates. And she wrote me a note to get me out of school that I was sick in the afternoon and couldn't go back to school, the 5th grade, so I could stay home because the World Series were all in the daytime back then. So I could stay home and watch the World Series. And I'm sitting there tonight thinking, holy crap, now you're in it. After all these years. And it was worth the wait. It was worth all the work. To see what it takes, I saw Jim Leland tonight, and he gave me one tip. And he said, don't take it for granted, grind it out. And that's exactly what I told the players before the game started. We got to grind it out again. And so it's a special moment for me. After all these years, when this has been your whole life, to finally get to the ultimate series that every person that's ever played this game wants to get to, I'm going to enjoy it.
And right here in front, Adam.
A few different topics. One, could you just summarize Daniel Murphy's postseason? 2, what Lucas Duda did today to break out, and then lastly, the severity of Cespedes' injury. Sorry to cram that all in there.
Well, we'll start with Daniel. There's times when players who are good players, once in a while they get a chance to show the world how good they really are. In this series, in this play, so far in postseason, Daniel Murphy's done that. He is a good player. He is an overachiever. He's not blessed with the greatest of talents. He can hit. He can hit. But this guy works to make himself a good player. And that's why I love him. When you have seen it, Adam, because you're with us all the time. To watch him when we told him he was going to play second base, the way he went about to learn how to play second base. Tireless. And that's why he's so tired at the end of the season. As far as Lucas Duda, I told you last week when you guys asked me what was going on, I said once in a while you got to show players you got confidence in them. And I thought I did that with Lucas, knowing that if he breaks out, he can carry us. And tonight he broke out. And Cespedes' shoulder is going to be okay. I think he probably got in. They didn't think it was any damage. They thought an injection will calm it down in a day, and so he'll be ready. We're going to work out on Friday, and I'm sure he'll be ready for that.
And right?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
And right here in front?
You spoke of Jim Leland. I'd love to hear a little bit about Joe Madden and how far you guys go back, and maybe that conversation that you guys had after the game, or maybe even pre-game. I'd just love to hear.
Well, he just met me in the hallway, which, if you know Joe Madden, you expect nothing less. I knew he was going to be somewhere. I knew one thing: he would not leave tonight without shaking my hand, because he's a pro. He deserves every accolade anybody talks about him. He's not just calming; he's extremely intelligent. He runs a great game. When I hired Joe in Anaheim, as I said, I've told this story. When I got the job in Anaheim, I had some managers tell me, don't hire any staff. Don't hire anybody who was on that staff. Get all new people in there. And I had known Joe in the past, not well, but I knew him. When I interviewed him, his preparation his intelligence, what he could bring to the table. And after I interviewed him, I had talked to a number of players, and it wasn't just hitters or position players. It was pitchers that said, is Joe Madden going to be on your staff? And that speaks volumes to me, because in professional baseball, there can be a lot of finger pointing. You know, when you have a bad year, there can be a lot of finger pointing. And here's a guy that did his job to the point where the players during a bad year said, hey, we want this guy back. And that spoke volumes to me. And so I brought him back, and, you know, he's certainly gone on to be the best manager in the game.
And right here in front again, Barry.
Terry, how many years would this have been the anniversary for your mom and dad?
70. My mom passed away on her 43rd wedding anniversary, and that was 30 years ago, so it'd probably be 73.
And your dad just passed away, right?
Yeah, he just passed away right before spring training.
And what were their names?
Bud and Choice Collins.
Thank you.
Any last questions for Terry? All right, we'll let him get back to
Thank
the
you.
celebration.